Hello and welcome to Voices Unhindered. I'm Crystal Jenkinson. On this show, I give a unique perspective and listening ear to voices that often go unheard. I want everyone to know that you are not alone and that your voice and story matters. I speak to the founder of Imprint Studios, which started as a textile business, Carla Watson. Carla shares what sparks her creative ideas for her popular crafting classes. Carla also teaches screen printing at Polytechnic. Carla shares her background, her faith, and her struggle with juggling work-life balance. Hi, Carla. It's nice to have you on today.
Thank you for inviting me along, Crystal. It's great.
Did you grow up in Christchurch?
That's correct. Probably third generation family in Christchurch. Christchurch is home, and it's home for my parents, my grandparents, and our kids as well.
What ethnicity are you?
I am New Zealand European, a Tiriti, o te Waitangi, hopefully a person of the treaty.
Are you part Māori?
No.
Do you speak Māori?
I'm learning.
Oh, wow.
I'm learning, and I'm in the very beginning stages of that. So wherever possible, I try to inject it into conversation.
Wow.
But my kete only has a very small amount at the
Oh,
moment.
yeah. Oh, wow. How about your business? When did you start Imprint Studios? What nature was it when you started the business?
Sure. So when I finished my degree, which was at ARA, which was then Christchurch Polytechnic, I majored in textile printing and jewellery making. So I needed to choose one of those passions to pursue. So I chose textile printing, and I wanted to make things and use that skill for people to enjoy and use. So I set up Imprint, which specialised in small screen printed runs and high-end specialty in women's hosiery products.
For those who don't know, like myself, what is screen printing and textile printing?
Sure. Most of you will own printed clothing. So lots of you have T-shirts with screen prints on the front, or garments and clothing that are printed. So I am a screen printer, but tended to specialise in not T-shirts, but other things. So I would screen print women's hosiery products and work with New Zealand
Like stockings?
designers. Yep, stockings, yep. And work with New Zealand designers printing specialty runs for them. So it might only be a run of like 12 items, really unusual items to print, or specialty kind of fabrics. And as part of my business, I also started teaching screen printing as well.
Yeah. Was it expensive to buy a screen printer? Yeah.
I'm the screen printer. So it was about sourcing and buying the equipment and setting up a studio space. Yeah, so that just happened over time, and I'm really resourceful. So it was trying to find secondhand things to start up with. And my dad was really great in helping me setting up some of the simple machinery that was needed as well.
Yeah. And do you still make jewellery as well?
I haven't done jewellery in nearly 20 years, and I'm hoping somewhere in my life there'll be time to re-explore that again.
Were you entrepreneurial when you were young? Did you know you wanted to start your own business and do your own thing?
Not really. I've always been quite confident and also really loved creativity. So I came from a family that was really encouraging of myself and my siblings to pursue whatever it was we were interested in. So I know I started from a good place.
Yeah.
And when I got married, which was several years after I finished study, my husband is an accountant, so he had a really regular income, which meant there was a little bit of room and space for me to explore starting a business. I worked part-time for quite a few years while I set my business up, and then had to make the big jump to stop part-time work and pursue it as a full-time job.
Oh, wow. That's quite different jobs at an accountant. Seems like really logical.
A lot of creativity in accounting.
Oh, yeah.
And my husband doesn't look like an accountant. He looks like, I don't know, he could be going skateboarding or down at the park. He doesn't wear it, doesn't own a suit, doesn't own a tie. So he works for his father's accounting business.
It's just the image in my mind,
Absolutely,
Asking about your faith growing up, did you have any beliefs in the home that influenced you and your business and your life?
Yeah. So I'm third or fourth generation Christian.
Yeah.
So blessed to have grown up in a Christian home with Christian parents and Christian grandparents. And so really strong faith foundation. and my parents have always had a really what I call an elastic faith. So they are really accepting of others and really interested in engaging in conversations on things that they don't understand or don't quite fit their grid, and are really
They're open-minded.
Open-minded and able to stretch and have really interesting conversations. So I feel like it's been an amazing experience of faith watching how they do that and interact with others as well.
It's really unique because there's a lot of like Christians that are like very boxed, and they're like, if they don't believe what we believe, we're just not going to talk to them. Or especially the last few years, it's been a bit like that with Christians.
I feel very grateful for the upbringing I've had. My dad was a musician as well, so he spent lots of time doing stuff with Youth for Christ in their early 20s, which was non-denominational, which meant they mixed with heaps of different people from all sorts of different kind of faith walks, and I think that was their foundation, and then I get to stand on the shoulders of that as well.
Oh, wow. All the denominations, there's so many little side things that different people believe about the interpretation of the Bible, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't know that you were a Christian, like we're not very friendly and things like that. I knew there was something about you, but I just didn't know. Do you think of your faith as a relationship, or do you think of it more as like a religion? I know that's
It's a big question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope that it feels like a relationship with Jesus, and that faith journey would permeate every aspect of my life, whether it's when I'm teaching kids, whether it's when I'm teaching adults at ARA, whether it's when I'm interacting with people on the street or at the supermarket. I would hope that my faith leaks out of me just in the way I interact with people. Sometimes it doesn't feel like I do a great job of that when I'm raising my 3 boys, but that's all right. That's why we have grace.
That's the hardest part, as being a parent, I think. It's easy to be nice to other people's kids.
To give them back.
Yeah, you can't get away from your own.
No.
Sounds real bad, but...
the best and the worst parts of your children.
Exactly. What do you believe is your calling in life? And it's a big question.
I think that I'm meant to bring colour and creativity to the world around me. And I hope that I do that.
You sure do.
Whatever I do. Yeah.
Do you mind discussing your role as kaitiaki in the church, and what does this mean in the context of the church setting?
Sure. So my husband and I sit on kaitiaki with a team of 5 others, so there's 7 of us. Kaitiaki means guardian, so we are part of North City Church. And,
oh, cool.
Yeah, and what does it mean to be kaitiaki? That we listen to Wairua Tapu, we listen to the Holy Spirit, that we help nurture what we feel Holy Spirit is leading the church to do and be part of, that we are good stewards of His word, that we outwork that in our hahi, in our church. What else? We also, as part of that, sit as trustees for North City Church as well. So the role is kind of split between kaitiaki and trustee members. So not the business of church, but the business of having a building and some of the operations kind of things that go along with that. The practical stuff, yeah. And kaitiaki maybe is the more spiritual and kind of the way we lead and hope that we lead well. The hapori that are the community that gather with us.
That's the one in Pepe, the North City.
On Sams Road.
So, I know that they do like hip hop and things.
Yeah, so there's different things within. We have an amazing building that has been such a gift. Over the years, the mall, Northlands Mall, has expanded, and we have had several expansions where the mall has moved. It got bigger and has bought our building several times, so we've moved several locations as where the mall's got bigger. We've moved further away from the mall, and so they've bought either land that we were able to build on, or they have bought us a building so that we could move over and the mall could expand. So we've been really blessed with the building that we have. It's a really big building. It used to be an old food warehouse, Rattray's food warehouse. So it's huge, and there's lots of different spaces that we're able to rent out or use for community things. We run a community dinner in our cafe space once a week. Lots of youth and children's ministries that operate out there. There's a gym set up in the back. There's an op shop, and also Zion Hip Dance Studios as well. Yeah.
How did you and your husband meet, and how did you both come into the youth pastoring roles?
Sure. How did we meet? Romantic love story. No, it's very rarely like the movies, is it? So, my husband was involved in another church and got really, I guess, burnt out. And so knew some people at North City. So came to find healing and restore his soul. So he turned up at church. At the time, I wasn't at church a lot. But Aaron, my husband, got to know some of my brothers. And so we kind of met through connections there. And we're quite different people when, sort of opposites attract kind of thing. But yeah, we both deeply love Jesus, both have a really strong faith. That's maybe
cool.
A short version.
Yeah, that's nice.
And what was the second part to that?
Oh, sorry. How did you both come into youth pastoring, that role?
So Aaron and I have done different roles within North City Church over our time there. One of those was youth pastoring for about 7 years. And that was really not because it was something we thought we would be good at, but because there was a sort of a gap and a need in the young adults space. And so we thought, well, yes, maybe we can have some young people round to our house once a week. So that grew quite quickly. There was about 20 young people, sort of young adults that would come to our place once a week for several years. And then we sort of just kept expanding a little bit into rangatahi, so the youth, the high school age space. And was such a gift to walk and journey with young people as they navigate faith, as they navigate life, as they navigate friendships and relationships. So we feel really honoured to have had that opportunity. And many of those we're still friends with now as they have their own families and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Did that passion for young people and youth grow, or was it something that when you stepped into it, or was it something that you already knew that you wanted?
Sure. My husband had been in that space before at previous church, so he had a real passion and desire for that. But it had not ended well, so there was a bit of a bruise there. I had not operated in that space before, so it was new to me, but having hospitality is easy. You just open up your home and people come in, and that's kind of where it started, and then walk from there. You learn as you go, and in reflection I look back and think, oh, I wish I'd done that differently. But it's okay. You learn and grow, and there's grace for that.
Yeah. You haven't done youth work though, like haven't gone into that field, or has your husband?
No, we haven't done any of that in a official capacity or in terms of training in youth work or social work, no.
Did you say that young people stayed at your house?
Yeah, for several years. When we sort of outgrew our first house, Aaron and I decided that we would get a bigger house so that there was room for young people to stay if there was an emergency situation or home wasn't a safe place anymore, or they just needed some time out for whatever reason. So for quite a few years while we did youth work, we would have young people live with us, usually just one at a time. So they would stay and come and heal and find hope and then move on, or that kind of thing. Yeah, so that was,
Did you feel led to do that?
We had the relationship to offer that. It was an open-ended kind of thing, and usually came out of a need.
Like a desperate need.
Yeah, a desperate need, or a young person just needing another option when there wasn't any in front of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they were usually through the church.
So there was some relationship, and they were often young adults. They weren't teenagers, they were usually young adults.
Yeah, I've done that. I didn't have anywhere to go. I went with a church friend when my grandma was passing, so I get that sometimes you need that space away from things. How does your business include your work with youth, and how was it kind of intertwined with your experience working with youth?
Sure. So my current work about now is that I teach a lot. I teach at ARA, so I teach in their degree program and specialise in printing, specialise in screen printing. So that's the area that I teach. But I also teach from my studio, Imprint Studio, and I teach every school holidays, lots and lots and lots of kids. So exploring creativity with kids in the holidays. So that's the work aspect that you're kind of talking about and how we've met, Crystal. And how has my youth work kind of affected that? I guess it just gives you a really big heart for young people and kids. And maybe especially those that don't always fit the mould or are a little bit on the edge or the outer. So that's probably where that's affected in my work.
Yeah, I've noticed that you're good at like picking up those dynamics like with kids that are a bit out. You have a special like empathy when working with children and families. So I think that's something really special about you.
Oh, thank you, Crystal.
How do you generate new ideas for your crafting classes? You said that it's easy.
I love designing new classes. So it's my most happy place when one round of holidays finishes. I'm already thinking, oh, I want to start designing new things. So I often describe myself as a magpie, and I love to go and source and find treasures. So I do lots of trolling op shops and markets and garage sales and places like that for supplies and equipment. And often what I find might spark an idea for an activity. So I might, recently I was at a secondhand shop and they had a whole lot of little vintage glass bottles with lids, about 30 of them. So I was like, I'm going to get all of those. And so from that, they sat for a few weeks as I worked out what to make. And now they're an activity for these coming holidays, which is like an ocean-themed bottle with lights in it. So usually the ideas are generated by the supplies, but then sometimes I have an idea. I'd love to do, I don't know, a mermaid-themed thing. So then I kind of think, what supplies have I got? How could I build something around that? So sometimes it's based on the supplies I have, and sometimes it's just an idea. Yeah, but they're my really happy places, creating new things for kids to do.
Oh, did you grow up like reading a lot of like fantasy books because your ideas are quite out there?
My dad's a real creative and he was always making, he's like a mad inventor, was making some machine creation, sculpture or playing music. So creativity was always around us growing up. Dad would often make lots of weird and wacky things. I remember as a child, my parents went to a hat party. And he made this like fantastical top hat that had birds' wings and it was motorized and the bird wings flapped and stuff like that. So there was lots of creativity in our household, lots of kind of bizarre, wacky things. And I think that just rubs off on you.
Yeah, even the way you dress is very creative, like very colourful and creative.
I like the way colourful.
Yeah, you like take pride in your appearance and it like expresses who you are.
My name's Carla. And I've got a close friend who calls me Carlaful. So his kids call me Carlaful. And I love that. So that's quite cool.
Yeah. Tell me a funny story behind how you said you were resourceful with finding things.
So 2 stories. I do lots of pulling over on the side of the road and finding supplies. My kids are really versed in that. And they're often, Mum, there's a free box. And we go and have a wee dig through it. So some really funny ones. I found a whole foam mattress rolled up on the side of the road in really great condition. And it was huge, big double bed size one. And that for about the last 5 years has been all the sponges that I use for all my kids' printing classes. I just cut little wee squares of it and that will last me probably for another 5 years. And then another really funny one was, again, driving with my kids and someone had dumped on the side of the road like rolls and rolls and rolls of like fake grass, astroturf. And I was like, that's so cool. So I got the kids out, we folded down all the seats and we just filled the car to the roof with rolls and rolls of astroturf, as many as I could get to fit in the car. And those have been cut up to make hundreds of little kids' kits. They're grass for jungle boxes or, the background for a fairy garden or something like that. So I like to be resourceful and repurpose things, and often I'm finding things on the side of the road.
Yeah. Are you just looking for things on the side of the road? Or do you think it's a bit of both?
I don't know. I'm not sure. So I have lots of people that will donate things, people that come to the studio And I do lots of sort of making soft toy creations, little monsters or cats or different things, and to make them cost effective for kids to be able to come along to. I like recycle and repurpose like cushions and duvet inners and stuff. So I'll quite often get people donate those to me instead of throwing them away. So yeah.
How do you suggest that we all become more resourceful and creative in our daily lives as adults in this world?
Yeah, it's really hard. We live in a world that is sort of fast fashion, where you buy something that's fashionable, you wear it for a few weeks, and then you move on to the next thing. And the same with the things we have around our home. We are quick to throw something out because it's no longer as cool, or you've gone off the colour or something like that. So I don't know if I've got any recipe for that other than to let people know there's lots of places where you can donate things. There's an amazing organisation called Creative Junk, which is in the central city in Christchurch, and they are an amazing resource for schools, preschools, and they are a warehouse that has bins and bins of stuff. So if you've got any kind of supplies, crafty kind of stuff, or even like old folders from an office you're cleaning out, or lids or bins or containers, you donate them there, and then they get repurposed for all sorts of creative things.
I was kind of meaning, like, how do we become more creative, like yourself? Because you kind of feel like you lose it as you get older.
Be aware and be interested in the world around you. I've got 3 young boys, and they spend a lot of time on screens in a world that's really removed from reality at times. And so I guess my encouragement would be to engage in the world around you, to encourage your children to communicate well with others, to explore the city you live in, to do things that aren't screen-based, but to get out in nature, to make, to create, to explore, to expand imagination. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like, your classes, they're just really creative, and that encourages using your brain.
Yeah. I mean, I think the more I teach kids and the more I meet families at the studio, I think lots of parents have a desire to be creative with their kids, but just feel a little bit stuck, not sure, well, how do I do that? What should I do? And often it's not really complicated. It's about resourcing your kids with those things. Do they have a good selection of felts? Do they have a selection of like fun, colourful bits of paper? Have they got some scissors and their own glue? And the stuff you need to help your kids with creativity is not expensive.
Yeah.
It's just providing or resourcing them with it. You could spend $20 and create a nice selection of creative things that your kids could play with and explore. Yeah.
And they do it themselves. You just leave them and they just make
Kids have the most amazing imagination, and I think our job as parents, as kids get older, is to keep helping find ways for them to explore that. As the world around them tells them everything is all about what's on the screen in front of them.
Yeah,
so I think that's the challenge in a tech-heavy society, is to still engage with the act of making and creating and allowing children's imaginations to have room to grow. Yeah,
exactly. What is some of the work you've done outside of your teaching at Imprint Studios?
With the teaching that I do at my studio, I get approached by other organisations sometimes to take workshops outside of the studio. So I've worked at different holiday programs. I've worked with the Selwyn District Council doing workshops at their libraries in sort of the outskirts of Christchurch. I've done adults courses at my studio, but also at other sort of symposiums or gatherings. So over the years, I've had the opportunity to work in lots of different spaces and meet a really wide variety of people. Earlier this year, I worked with an organisation called CATA, which was Canterbury Art Teachers Association.
Oh, yeah.
They were doing some kind of personal development over one of the holiday breaks, so got to teach a whole bunch of them some of the printing stuff that I do, and that was really fun. So really cool opportunities like that.
And you do screen printing you've done it 20 years at ARTA.
Yeah.
Is that correct? I know it's a weird question, but how do you teach screen printing? It just sounds like what it is or is.
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, like any new skill, there's lots of techniques and processes involved. So, the first kind of steps is creating a design, getting the students to create their own design. So that may be hand-painted or hand-drawn. It may be computer-generated. Might be a combination. It might be something they've done in another drawing assignment. And so then we create the design on paper, and then we have to set up the screen, so transfer that design from paper onto a film work that then gets photo etched onto a screen, and then the screen is then ready to print onto fabric or other things. I've just been printing with students. We've been printing on glass, wood, cardboards, kind of shiny plastics. So yeah, you can screen print on lots of different surfaces. Yep. It's really fun. It's really, I love it, but I'm a passionate printmaker, so it's my thing that I love. Yep.
Yeah. What are some of the challenges that you've had with having a business at home and some of the perks?
Yep. So I've always had a studio at home, mostly the whole time I've been doing this, which is, 23 years. And I love working from home. Home is a happy place for me. So the studio has always been just set up in a garage. Once it used to be a single car garage. Now I've taken over a big 2-car garage, and then would often have an office space in the house as well. So I love that while I had children and had young children, if they were sleeping in bed, I could nip out and do some stuff in the studio or respond to emails in the office. The downside to that, of course, is it's quite hard to switch work off because it's available to you all the time at home. In the evenings and in the weekends, and you can just kind of nip out and do that and do a bit more. So that's still, I haven't got that juggle or balance right, and I've been doing it for 20-something years. So yeah, I'm still working on getting that balance right. But yeah, they're kind of probably the positives and the negatives mixed together. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any other challenges with like boundaries or like?
Probably just trying to be present with my family and my kids in the really busy work times. Yep. Because the pool's really great when I don't have to drive somewhere to work. It's literally up the stairs to the office, or it's outside to the studio garage. They're really strong pools, especially when it's a really busy, intense work time. So it's just trying to be present in the times I'm with my family and not being too pulled. And like I say, I don't get that right all the time. Yep.
It's nice that you admit that, very vulnerable. Some of your classes and events are anxiety friendly for children and for parents, is that right?
Yeah.
What does this mean, and why did you need to make some of them anxiety friendly?
Sure. So over the last few years, as my business has grown, the volume of children and families that come to the studio has grown. And so it's probably, I'm seeing more, probably especially children, that sometimes find a busy creative environment overwhelming. And my heart and desire is that everyone can engage in creativity. And I don't want the environment or the busyness of a big class to stop kids engaging. So it made me kind of look at how I do my classes, and some of them just are busy and full. So it was about how can I sort of recreate that in a smaller way so that children that do find that busy, creative, bubbly, really loud environment challenging can still engage. So most holidays I will offer several anxiety-friendly classes. So they will have a maximum of 12 students in the class. And just because of the smaller amount of numbers, the energy levels are lower. And I try really hard to speak in a quieter voice in those times, whereas I kind of tend to talk quite loud and fast. So I try to intentionally just lower my volume, but the general volume's reduced. In my busy classes, we could have 18 kids plus parents, so they're really busy. So the anxiety-friendly classes, I think, help people that find that busy environment able to come and attend. So there's less people in the class, there's more space. So some kids just don't cope with being next to someone they don't know. So they need to just have a whole table to themselves with mum or with auntie or with nana. So those classes create more physical space. Some students or children or even parents need to be quite close to the door
Yeah.
So if they need to nip outside, that it's right there. So, the needs are varied, and those classes just help create a little bit more room for people to feel more comfortable. I have a variety of students that can be on the autism spectrum. So sometimes certain textures might be difficult for them, or particular noises, or even just sitting still is impossible. So those classes just create a way for kids to come and engage. And if they never sit down and they walk around the room the whole time, that's fine by me. Yes. Yeah.
How did you notice that there was a need for the anxiety-friendly classes, and for you to cater to that need?
Sure. There was a couple of encounters, one holidays, that some children arrived and they stood in the door to the studio, and I could see that they were too overwhelmed to come in, and it broke my heart. And the parent, or I think, the parents tried several times to get them to come in and sit down and get going on the activity, but it was too much and too overwhelming. So several times people had left, and the parents were hugely apologetic, and not that they needed to be, but they felt bad. And I felt heartbroken that that young person wasn't able to stay and enjoy the activity. So those kind of experiences made me realize that I need to create a space that makes room for those that need something a little bit different.
Is there a greater recognition for this need among kids today than there used to be? Because I don't remember it when I was young.
Yeah, I think there's a greater awareness and a greater amount of compassion and understanding. Partly it's probably education. I think schooling is different from when I went to school, and there's definitely a lot more awareness and I think a greater need as well. I mean, I've got 3 boys and same mum, same dad, same household, same upbringing, and they're 3 really different individuals.
Yeah.
And I think that we are all like that and
Yeah.
come from the same household and the same family and have the same upbringing and cope with something in a way that a sibling doesn't, or different, you know. So I don't think maybe that there's any things are more. It's just maybe there's more awareness that we are wired differently, and the support around that is greater. I mean, my middle child is and has always been my most wild child. He was a runaway. He could never be contained. He was an escaper. He was physical. He was loud. He was naughty. He was ragey. So, and exactly the same upbringing as the other 2. So I have great empathy and understanding for, difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. I guess I feel when it comes to what I do for my job, I know I'm in a very blessed position to be able to do a job that I love, and that there have been amazing doors that have opened in my life to be able to explore creativity as my job. I love it. I'm passionate about it, and I really feel very blessed to work with such an amazing group of young people at Ara that I get to teach, and then also the wonderful families and children that come into the studio, and that's growing all the time. I'm quite passionate about growing my business through word of mouth rather than social media, so I've never kind of pursued that in any aspects of my business, which I know some people think's crazy. But for me, it was always about making a real connection with real people.
Yeah.
And so, And
you do that really well. I think I heard about you through social media because I didn't know anyone that knew your business.
Yep.
And then, we just we appreciate your service. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Your classes and everything we love. It's fun. You always make it really fun.
Oh, that's so great. I enjoy having Lily in the studio.
Oh,
she's a sweetheart. She's a real creative soul, your daughter.
Oh, yeah.
She is. And I think our job as parents, our most important job, second to keeping them alive and safe and well, is to help them discover what they love to do and make a way for them to explore it. It's been a lovely opportunity to come and talk to you, and I felt very privileged to be asked.
Thank you so much for coming on today's show. I will probably see you again soon.
Sounds great. Look forward to seeing you at the next class.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Crystal.
Thank you for listening to Voices Unhindered. It's great hearing from my listeners. Reach out with questions and comments through Insta or Facebook. Just search for Voices Unhindered. I'm interested to know what other topics and voices you'd like me to bring on the show. Subscribe to Voices Unhindered on Spotify or Apple Podcasts to never miss an episode.